Good morning, it's 6:22. Welcome back to Great Day. Lou has the day off. Of course, Round Guy is here. We have Dan Boelman, who is going to be talking about poison ivy and Zanfel. Off the air, Round Guy was telling us a little story about his brush with poison ivy that you're not going to want to miss. It is 6:23. We have Dan Boelman back in the studio with us from Zanfel. You came in early or late in the show yesterday to talk about poison ivy, and we were all so interested in it, Dan, that we thought we got to get this guy back in here. Round Guy made the comment he didn't think that was poison ivy.
You know, and I did see your segment yesterday, and I was intrigued. So yeah, I'm thrilled to actually be here with you again today, just to ask you. My experience is that poison ivy is a little smaller than that.
Well, poison ivy leaves can really look different. Sometimes they're smaller, sometimes they're even bigger than this.
Can you zoom in on that, Gabe?
But they're always leaves of three, which is where the old saying "leaves of three, let it be" comes from.
Okay.
And I was mentioning yesterday another feature that you can use to help identify poison ivy is in the summer, a lot of times where the wind has injured the leaf or a bug has chewed on it, there'll be this little black spots where the plant's toxic oil has oozed out. So leaves of three with little black.
Here?
Yeah, you can see where it's kind of oozed out on the paper or whatever. But leaves of three with little black spots. Now in Iowa we don't have poison sumac and we don't have poison oak, but we do have a couple different varieties of poison ivy. And all those plants have a toxin in them called urushiol, that when that plant's oily toxin gets on your skin, the plant's toxin bonds with your skin cells, and that's what causes the allergic skin reaction.
Round Guy, are you going to share with the class your story about a brush with poison ivy?
Well, I do. Part of my curiosity about this is that as I said earlier, that didn't look like poison ivy to me.
No, it didn't to me either.
And I was sitting here thinking, hey, it's not going to be a problem for me because I rarely, if ever, encounter it. And then I thought, all those errant golf shots.
That's right. That's right.
I've seen where you hit golf balls.
Exactly. I'm just happy the group I'm with is there when I come out of the woods after having searched, but I'll be more observant to this type of stuff. I wasn't so fortunate many years ago with a family member. It was at Thanksgiving, and everybody was together, and somebody came up with the idea, let's go hunt arrowheads. And they had an area where we were going to go do that, and we did. And everything was going great till like the next day or so, and I broke out in this stuff. And my hands, my arms, and because I had to relieve myself during the process of hunting for the arrowheads, there was some blisters and some itching and whatnot a little further south. And thankfully, that's when you go, oh, thank God it's poison ivy. So what I would caution people is to become familiar with the appearance of this, and not only that, but be careful with what other areas of your body you touch.
That's right. The plant's oily toxin takes about 60 minutes to completely absorb into the skin. So in that meantime, if you have it on your hands and you brush your face or scratch your shoulder or whatever,
or touch other parts of your body.
That's right.
And so obviously, if you think you've been exposed to it, you should immediately rinse off, wash off. I've heard use Dawn soap. You can use Zanfel, obviously. And let's talk about your product a little bit, because once I got the poison ivy, I obviously didn't know I'd touched it. I'm with Round Guy. I had no idea. Now that I've seen what poison ivy looks like, I know that I touched something that looked exactly like that in my backyard. I was in full bloom rash, poison ivy. I went to the pharmacist. They said that buying Zanfel, it's like, oh, well, it's almost too late now. You should have bought that when you first were exposed to it. But I ended up using it after I'd gotten the rash, and it was the only thing that made the itching stop. How does this stuff work?
Well, Zanfel is a mixture of a couple different surfactants and other ingredients that when you add water to the product has a very strong attraction to the poison ivy plant's toxin. So as you're scrubbing with it over your rash, you're literally pulling the plant's toxin out of the skin. And we find that by doing that, you get an immediate relief of itching. And because then the allergen is gone, your body's in a position to immediately begin the healing process.
Yeah, it was almost like it erased the rash that was already there. And, of course, when you're itching, nothing feels better, Round Guy, than to scrub in something that's granular.
Unless, in your case, maybe not so much, but...
Yeah, maybe in those areas you don't want to do it.
Point taken.
When people think of a poison ivy treatment, they think of calamine lotion or Benadryl or hydrocortisone cream, but all they usually do is stop the itching for a couple hours and you've still got poison ivy. The key is to remove the plant's toxin with Zanfel. And you can turn a 2-week episode of poison ivy a lot of times into just 2 days, and that's a huge quality of life issue.
It is. And this is a company right here in Clive, which we weren't aware of.
That's right. We're right here in Clive, Iowa, and the product's made in America. And for poison ivy, as far as over-the-counter products, it's really the only thing that works. For people who get poison ivy a lot and have to be on steroids like prednisone over and over again, those medications are good if you have a severe case, but they also have some nasty side effects. So if you can go to the drugstore, locally the product's available at Walmart, Walgreens, Hy-Vee, and a lot of independent pharmacies. Pick up some Zanfel, treat yourself at home right away. You feel better a lot sooner.
What if, Dan, I was covered with mosquito bites or a couple of bee stings? Does this product help for that as well?
Yes, it does. We found in the last few years that in addition to plants that have this urushiol toxin in it, the product also works great for mosquito bites, chigger bites, and bee stings.
Perfect.
That is a great question, because you think if it works so well on poison ivy that itches, wouldn't it work on other things that itch?
Since I'm going golfing later, I'm going to...
There you go. There you go.
You should keep some of that, because if you ever get poison ivy, you're going to want some of this on hand.
What about, though, when she said that she contracted it and then it was too late, but if somebody washes quickly, they get the poison ivy, they come in contact, and they think, that may be poison ivy. So they run inside and they wash up real quickly. Yeah. Will that stop it, or is it too late by then?
Well, the plant's toxin starts being absorbed into your skin about 15 minutes after you touch the plant, and 60 minutes after exposure, it's completely in your skin. Now, we still tell people, if you've been out doing yard work, do go in and wash off right away with regular soap and water, because a lot of times you can remove at least some of the plant's oils and thereby decrease the severity of the reaction.
What if and I've had this happen, I know everybody here has, I'm on a date that's not going well, and this woman is under my skin. Now, do I benefit from this product in that way, or am I just
I'll have to check the product insert for that one.
Because her toxins were well in under my skin. I wanted the date to be over now.
That might be one of the good side effects of the product. I'll have to check on that.
All right.
Start rubbing it on her face.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, your product ended up being a lifesaver, and it's not cheap, it's not inexpensive, but anything that works isn't. But it's about, what, $40 a tube?
Whoa,
Here
I guess I will
Moines,
take this.
I've seen the product range in price from $29 to $39 a tube, and the way I look at it, for the price of half a tank of gas, if you can reduce 2 weeks of misery, that's really worth it.
Everybody can attest to the fact that I would have paid any amount of money to make the itching stop.
And we would have done the same thing to shut her up.
Exactly. So I really appreciate being introduced to your product, and very important, I just can't stress this enough, if you have a pharmacist tell you that this doesn't work, if you already have a rash, that's not true. It'll still stop the itching.
That's right. There's no upper time limit where the product won't work. In fact, it's indicated to be used after the rash is already broken out as a spot treatment.
All right, so it's Zanfel. Dan, thanks for coming in. Made right here in Clive, by the way. Saved my life. And hold up that poison ivy as we go to break, just so people know. Don't go anywhere near that.
Let Heather hold that.
I'm not getting anywhere near it. It's 6:31. You're watching Great Day on KCWI.